everyone, my name is Yakshini Priya and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be painting this landscape sunset using watercolor paints. Now I'm using a watercolor sketchbook and I'm just bordering the page with some washi tape. All the supplies I'll be using will be listed in the description box below. Now the paint I'm using will be the Faber-Castell watercolor tubes. Now just a little disclaimer, I am not sponsored. I've purchased these at my regular art store and I just happened to come across them and I want to give them a try. Now it does come with 24 tubes of paint, a brush and a palette as well. Here you can see the swatches of all the colors. I've swatched all of them out. This is just swatched on regular printer paper just to give me an idea of what the colors look like, and they're very saturated, very vibrant. So they remind me a lot of gouache. And yeah, so now I'm starting with the background and the base layer of the sky. Now the reason why I'm using the masking tape, or sorry, the washi tape, you could also use masking tape, it works the same way. It's just so that I have crisp, clean lines around my painting when I remove them. So you can see I'm just starting to add the base layers of the sky. Now one thing about these paints that I've noticed is that they do work a lot like gouache as well. So I can use them very translucent if I want to, but if I want them to be a little thicker, I can use them more opaquely, similar to gouache, and I can even layer some lighter colors over the darker colors. It's normally unusual for watercolors to have that ability, but I really enjoyed working with these paints and I must say that I'm very impressed. I was able to layer the colors well. Now with the base layer, I'm not too concerned about any harsh lines showing through on the sky. I am going to come through with more layers later on, and also the foreground is going to be painted over. Now I am using a hairdryer on low heat just to dry my layers as I work, and you can see I am just now starting to add some more of those deeper shadows or deeper clouds in the sky. Now this is a very bright sky, bright sunset. It's got lots of oranges, it's got some pinks, yellows. The pink that I really found helpful for this piece was a color called coral in the set, and that color definitely helps to brighten up the sky, and it gives me the perfect pink for the sunset. So now I'm building my layers, moving from the background to the foreground. So I started with the sky and then I moved on to the mountain in the background, and then now I'm slowly moving forward with the water, where I am adding some of those reflections of the sky in the water, and now I'm coming to the foreground where I'm going to be drawing or painting in the trees as well as the bench that's overlooking the water. So at the beginning you can see it's a bit messy. I'm not looking at too much of detail. I'm just getting everything down onto the paper and just painting in a base layer for the foreground. So you can see I'm adding a bit more color to the water, and the good thing I noticed about these as well is that they don't dry that fast, so I can they dry quickly, they're watercolors, but if I am quick enough, I'm able to use a wet brush or a wet paper towel, and I'm able to remove some color if it goes down too dark or if it goes into the wrong place. So you can see now I added some of that color to the water and the reflections of the sky into the water. And I am slowly just adding some details to the water. Now you can see I'm working on the foreground. Now the foreground is very, you can see I'm very rough with the way I'm painting. I'm just blotching on some color. I'm not paying too much attention to getting any details in or anything like that. I'm just getting the colors just so that I know where the grass and the sand is going to be. You can see I started just putting in the second tree, which is more closer to the viewer. I have just included that tree, and now I'm starting to add more branches and definition to the branches of the trees, the bark of the tree, and I'm just darkening that up. Now remember, this is a sunset and it is quite low with the sun, so it's quite dark. You're not going to see a lot of details on the trees. and on the bench, except for some of that glow of the sun where it's the oranges and the pinks and the yellows where it's hitting certain areas of the branches, the barks and the bench. So now I'm going in and refining some of those details on the bench, like the different, basically the wood panels on it, the legs of it, just darkening that up, as well as darkening up some of those branches and the bark of the tree. Now this is a autumn sort of a sunset. It's an autumn sunset, so there's going to be a lot of orange and brownish leaves from the trees, and they're going to be also scattered on the ground. So you can see now I'm starting to add some of the grass around the trees, not paying too much attention to details, just getting that effect of the leaves and the branches, or not branches, sorry, of the grass in the ground and the sand. And you can see I'm drying it with a hairdryer again between layers. I am using my hairdryer on lower heat. We don't want to burn the paper, it's just to dry it up, to speed up the drying time. Now I'm adding in some of those orange leaves that are on the tree and on the different branches. Now I am using different color oranges. There's going to be some darker ones for some shadows, and then obviously the brighter ones for the where the light is hitting the leaves from the sunset. And you can see I'm not really drawing or painting each individual leaf. I'm just doing roughly leaves around the branches, and then just scattering some of them on the ground, and also adding some of the areas where the light is hitting the ground. Remember, the sunlight, even though it is a sunset, there is light that's coming onto the ground, which you need to also take into consideration when painting a sunset. And then now I'm just adding some of those shadow areas where the sun is hitting the bench and the trees. There are going to be shadows that are going to be on the ground behind the trees and the bench as well. So definitely these paints I've enjoyed using. They're a lot like gouache, but they also retain their similarities of watercolor, which is what they are. So definitely they are versatile, and you can do a lot with them. I'm able to create this really detailed or in-depth painting using them. So I must say I really enjoyed working with these. You can see I'm adding some shadows and highlights as well, and just drying up the entire piece. Okay, so once your piece is completely dry, then you can remove the washi tape, or if you've used masking tape. But always remember, when removing the tape from around the painting, move it to away from the painting. So move it outwards, away from your painting, in case it does tear the paper, because sometimes it can tear the paper and it'll rip into your drawing. So moving it outwards avoids this, and it won't rip through your actual painting or your drawing. And also try not to keep the washi tape or the masking tape on your drawing or painting or illustration too long, because that can also make it stick more firmer and it becomes more difficult to remove. But if you use some heat from a hairdryer and then remove it, it becomes a bit easier if it does get a bit stuck. But always remember to move it outwards, away from your actual drawing or painting. So I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like and share. Feel free to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Till the next one, bye.